We're visiting Madrid, Spain, before going on a 3-week-long campervan trip in the country. On our first jet-lagged day, we're just going to see some of the main points of interest and enjoy some of what this great city has to offer. On day 2, we're going deeper, sampling some delicious delicacies at Mercado de San Miguel and a Spanish classic, cocido madrileño. We'll explore the sprawling park west of Madrid, Casa de Campo, country house, and we'll visit some areas beyond the tourist path. Finally, we'll indulge in some of Madrid's famous terrazas, rooftop bars, wrapping up day 2. On day 3, we go beyond all that. Madrid was my home ever so briefly between 1987 and 1988. We're going to explore my Old Stomping Grounds and some other things we haven't seen yet, along with a lively sunset celebration. This will be our last full day in Madrid before we rent a campervan for almost 3 weeks, but that will be another whole movie. When we return to Madrid, let's call it day 4, we'll visit El Escorial, the largest Renaissance building in the world, an easy day trip from the capital. Then we're really going to enjoy our last day, day 5, revisiting some favorites from the first 3 days, discovering some great new gems, before getting on an airplane back to Florida. So don't go anywhere, because our epic 5-day adventure in Madrid is next. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Well, greetings from Miami International Airport, and this is a new one for us. Yep, today we're flying. And after so many trips, with the RV, being able to take as much stuff as we want, it's kind of hard to be living for 3 weeks out of a backpack and a carry-on. So we'll manage. We're certainly overdue for a trip overseas. This is so exciting. Cheers. Let's get something to eat. A Stefan Kitchen Express. Oh, this is called a mini hot Cuban. A little more mini than I was expecting. And let me show you what we're drinking. And we're washing it down with a mojito. Because why not? Pretty good. It's a good mojito. That's our airplane right there. Now on the tunnel of freedom onto our Boeing 777. Destination, Madrid.
Ahora les pedimos por favor que dirijan su atención a los monitores en la cabina para una demostración de seguridad concerniente a nuestro avión Boeing 777-200. Les pedimos.
This is so exciting. It's been a few years since the last time I was on an airplane. Finland 2018, I believe. Taxiing down the runway, and off we go. Yes, we're airborne. We won't see American land for over 3 weeks now. Looking north, Miami Springs and our fine city of Hialeah. It is always so interesting to see your city from up above. And as you can see, the downtown skyscrapers are right below our flight path. We can see the Arena, Bayside, the Port of Miami, the Venetian Islands of the Intracoastal, home to the rich and famous. As we approach the Atlantic, Miami Beach and Fisher Island. What a great view of Government Cut, the entrance to the port, and South Beach. As we start circling around, we're going to see downtown once again in the distance. When you get on a plane, you never know whether you're going to get lucky with the views. This time we did. Look at that, we can even see the airport. Goodbye East Coast, see you soon. It is a red-eye flight, so it'll be dark soon. Cool sunset from 35,000 feet above sea level. We visit the lavatory, mainly to stretch our legs. We get served a ridiculously bad dinner, and after a few hours of sleep, breakfast. As we're about to reach the Iberian Peninsula, we see the first lights of the Portuguese coast, marking the end of our Atlantic crossing. We are overland once again, soon descending onto the Spanish capital, Madrid. The bright light you see up in the sky, it's not an LED, that is the moon, welcoming us to the old world. In just a few seconds, we're going to be on European soil. This is so exciting. This is a huge airport. I believe this is Terminal 4, which is huge. I mean, we've been walking for like a good 5, it feels like 10 minutes at least on these, mechanical sidewalks. Passport control should be somewhere up ahead. By the way, welcome to Madrid. Ooh, they have Uber. I think we're just gonna take a regular taxi right now. It is gonna be much easier. Well, we're definitely not in Florida anymore. This is a whole new world. The old world, actually. A big, densely populated old city, full of history and culture. This is, perhaps, the most architecturally interesting part of the city, as we cruise along Alcalá Street to our destination at the very center of Madrid, Puerta del Sol, or Gate of the Sun. Puerta del Sol is nowadays a pedestrian-only area, so he's gonna have to drop us off a couple of blocks away. Greetings from Madrid. We just got off the taxi and look at that building. We're like a block away from Puerta del Sol, which is the very center of Madrid, and then we're going to our Airbnb. This area is notorious for its nightlife, so it is not surprising that it is nearly deserted this early in the morning. Spain is not a morning country. Here, everything starts later and ends later too. This is, by the way, the famed Puerta del Sol, which we'll be seeing a lot of. Here's our Airbnb. Oh, this is it. Stone throw away from Puerta del Sol. Well, hello everybody. Let me give you a house tour of our Airbnb here in Madrid. We have two of these bolts here. Little kitchenette area here in the front. Actually, this is the induction cooktop and sink. And I'm a little loopy still because it was a long flight. All flights are long. Oven there. I believe there's a loft. If this place sleeps 4, so there's a loft. We have a skylight and closet space, and this is pretty much it. You're looking at it, but I just wanted to give you the quick house tour before we make a mess out of it. I already did put some of our adapters, because here, of course, the electricity is different and the plugs are different. And I believe you get a view out of this window. I don't know, let's see. Kind of, sort of. Now let me show you the bathroom. Well, yeah, we have TV also, and that becomes a desk too. I mean, it's nice, and as you saw, we're impeccably located. I mean, just a few steps away from Puerta del Sol. Let me show you the bathroom. Here we have the bathroom, or, ow, I cut my finger, or el aseo, as they call them here. Ouch. I'll survive. Yeah, nice. We have our toilet, the two flushing systems here. We have washer and dryer, I believe, which we don't really need to use the washer and dryer yet, but it's nice to have. Sink. Down here we have drawer, hair dryer, and another drawer, and very nice shower. Look at this. We even have like the shower gel and shampoo dispensers. Very nice. And the gentleman who came and showed it to us, he was very attentive, very, very nice too. So I think we're gonna get our bearings, take a break, and then we're going to explore Madrid. But it's an hour later, came back to Puerta del Sol. It's a lot livelier now. And this is like the very center of Madrid. In fact, somewhere around here, there's a statue of a bear. And that's like kilometer zero of all the highways in Spain. And that's a famous building. That's where that's like their Times Square, where they celebrate, New Year's Eve. That's the clock that does the 12, the bell tolls. And we're still a little disoriented, a little jet lagged, but we're here in Madrid, man. This is awesome. Well, this is it. This is called El Oso y el Madroño, the bear, and that tree is called the Madroño. And this is like the symbol of Madrid. And here at kilometer zero of all the highways. I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. I don't know why I thought the statue marked kilometer zero, but in fact it doesn't. Kilometer zero is actually in front of the good-looking building with the clock tower, formerly the post office. We'll see it later. This is something very typical of Madrid, churros with chocolate. And I got a cappuccino because I'm gonna need all the caffeine I can get today. Very, very quick. This big one is called Escorial. This one will absorb the chocolate even more. Oh yeah, it's always good to have a chocolateria right on the, on the bottom floor of your flat, your apartment. Now let's walk around a little bit, get the lay of the land. And here we have the kilometer zero of all the radial highways of Spain. Very cool. Lots of people taking pictures at this particular spot. Well, yeah, I thought kilometer zero was the bear, but the bear used to be in a different place, by the way. But I guess kilometer zero is here. Free tour. I'm suspicious. Oh yeah, Puerta del Sol, it's iconic. We'll be back. I mean, we're staying right there, but now let's go somewhere else. Today we're not gonna do much. We're just gonna walk around and get back the lay of the land. Get back, I say, because we've been here before. So, while I'm really looking forward to immersing ourselves in a foreign culture, it is all kind of familiar. After all, this is the land of my ancestors. In fact, many Cubans call Spain the mother homeland. It is also familiar because I actually lived here for a little over a year, back in 1987 and 1988. This area has such exquisite architecture. Now we continue walking down the Alcalá street, La Calle de Alcalá. This is this area with all these, magnificent buildings. And yeah. My jet-lagged self cannot find the words to describe how it actually feels to be back here. Every street name evokes memories of my time here as a teenager. This one undergoing renovations, very iconic building here, the Metropolis. Everywhere you look, there's one of these majestic buildings. Like this one with the statues. There's the Metropolis once again. Now we're approaching Plaza de Cibeles, or Cibeles Square, with its magnificent fountain at the center of the roundabout. The ornate building across used to be the Palace of Communications, since it originally housed the main post office and the telephone and telegraph companies. Nowadays, it is occupied by the Madrid City Council. That would be Banco de España, Bank of Spain. Let's walk around the roundabout, and here's the view looking up Alcalá Street. What I didn't know is that Cibeles Palace nowadays has an observation deck, so let's take a look at the city from a higher perspective. It is a magnificent building. You can tell we are in one of the great European capitals. We're gonna take the elevator to the top. Check it out! Art! Actually, to get to the very top, we have to use some stairs. Ooh, I can tell this is going to be a great view. And we're not even at the top yet. And here we have a commanding view. First, the fountain beneath us. Alcalá Street and the fork at the Metropolis building, where it merges with Gran Via. The Riu, one of the most popular rooftops in Madrid. Yeah, rooftop bars are totally a thing these days. The distant mountains to the north. Torre España, the broadcast tower locally known as El Pirulí. Pirulí in Spain and other Spanish-speaking countries is kind of a conical lollipop. Some landmarks I recognize, some I don't. Here's another look at that opulent Metropolis building. I just love that early 20th century architecture of this part of Madrid. They certainly don't make them like that anymore. Of course, there is also the more modern part of Madrid, which we'll visit later. Okay, I'd say these are pretty commanding views of Madrid, even though we're not that high, but it's just the location. While we're here, let's explore the building a little bit, which was inaugurated in 1919. Nowadays, as I said, it is the city council, but they have some art exhibitions as well. Well, it was very cool, very serendipitous, and and they have a pretty cool museum in there too. Now we're gonna keep on going on Alcalá Street Hill towards the gate of Alcalá. So we made it to the gate of Alcalá, La Puerta de Alcalá, and that's a spot to take a picture of it, preferably in the afternoon, not right now, but just cross the street and stay here in the island in the middle. And there's always a tour bus or something. It's a very busy city, Madrid. Completed in 1778, Puerta de Alcalá was the gate in the city walls marking the beginning of the old path between Madrid and the neighboring town of Alcalá de Henares. Now let's go to the great park in the middle of Madrid, Parque del Buen Retiro, or simply El Retiro. It translates as the good retreat, and that it certainly is. A great way to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. As you may have noticed, Madrid is not a quiet town, so this definitely provides a respite from that. What do you know, I think I found my Spanish IPA, and this is a legendary brand here, Mao. This is what I used to drink 35 years ago when I used to live here. So, cheers. Yeah, that really hit the right spot. Session IPA, only 4.5 alcohol percentage. And I just found out, reading the label, that it's a collaboration with Founders Brewing Company. So, very cool. Now let's keep on going. There's a big pond here in the park with rowboats and of course the only people who drink IPAs in Spain are the tourists. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but we are really jet lagged today. We slept maybe an hour or two. In our biological clocks, it's 6 a.m. Let's check out this fountain here. This is Fuente de los Galápagos, commissioned in 1832 by King Ferdinand VII. It was moved here from its original location in 1879. One of many fountains here at El Retiro. Here's the large pond. And here we have a street musician, a saxophone player, and there's also someone dressed like Woody from Toy Story. All these places have become so touristy over the years. So many people out and about, enjoying the excellent late spring weather. We're here, by the way, on May 24th. A very popular activity here in the large pond is to rent one of these rowboats and go for a leisurely paddle. And here's the monument dedicated to King Alfonso XII. Oh yeah, this is the pond they have here at Retiro Park, where you can, rent a rowboat. I have no idea how much they are. It would be cool to do it if I wasn't so jet lagged. I might do it. But it's one of those gathering places, and there's a little bit of everything. You have the locals, you have the scammers, you have the tourists, the street musicians. It's a combination of them all. This whole park used to belong to the monarchy until 1868, when it became a public park. This here is Fuente de Alcachofa, literally artichoke fountain, although in Castilian alcachofa could also mean showerhead. I haven't found any reliable information on the origin of the name, but it seems to be related to the vegetable, as a symbol of fertility. El Retiro, by the way, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with our next point of interest, Palacio de Cristal, Glass Palace. Originally a 19th century conservatory, and although at the time of our visit it is currently closed, it is nowadays used for art exhibitions. Yeah, it seems to be undergoing renovations. Such exquisite architecture, huh? Let's check out the front of the building. Oh yeah, this is the Crystal Palace here, and unfortunately it is closed. I've never actually been here. It is quite magnificent. Street musicians everywhere. This is Velázquez Palace, nowadays housing a museum as well. Very original. Let's go towards El Prado. Prado Museum, of course, probably the most famous one in Madrid. And spoiler alert, we're not gonna visit. That would be an almost all-day affair, and there are so many other things we want to see. Mainly, just roam the streets of Madrid. See what we stumble upon. La policía montada. Yes, like the mounted police. I just love that building. Madrid has such great architecture. We're going to exit Retiro through Puerta de Felipe IV, or the gate of Philip IV. And I don't think I've ever been to this exact area. I mean, where we're going to? Yes, but not down this exact path. And by the way, this is not the famed Prado Museum. This is El Casón del Buen Retiro, which used to be a ballroom. And here's looking back towards Puerta de Felipe IV. And I don't know about you, but this is what I like to do at cities like this. Just walk, discovering the subtle nuances, all the different things a foreign city can offer. Iglesia San Jerónimo del Real. La Real Academia Española. Yeah, La Real Academia. They decide which words are words and which words are not words. Yeah. They're in charge of the language. Let's check out the San Jerónimo Church. Well, I got very lucky to be able to film whatever I got to film in there because they're closing. It's, I guess, 1 p.m. siesta time. I don't know what's going on, but they kicked everybody out. Beautiful church, by the way. And here's once again the Royal Academy, La Real Academia. The Real Academia basically regulates the Spanish language around the world. Kind of equivalent to what the Oxford English Dictionary is for the English language. That's the line for the Prado Museum. And here's a statue of the famous Spanish painter Goya. His art is prominently displayed at the Prado Museum, but photography is not allowed anyway, so one of these days I will enjoy it in private. Here's Francisco Goya once again from the front. He is considered the most important Spanish artist of the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Here we have some booths selling paintings. The Neptune Fountain can be seen at the nearby roundabout. Everything is under construction, so we're taking one of the back streets here. We're going back towards Alcalá once again. Here we are, this looks familiar. Here at the Metropolis building, we're gonna take the other fork, which is Gran Via, one of Madrid's main thoroughfares. It goes from here all the way to Plaza de España. Here we have King Kong. Being a gorilla must be a tedious job, especially in the summer heat. I think the weather calls for a caña, which is basically a small glass of light lager. And we've been so looking forward to coming to this place called El Tigre, famous for its huge tapas, which is kind of counterintuitive, since tapas are, by definition, small portions. This is one of those places where you order a beer and you get all this food together with the beer. The food is free, just pay for the beer. €9 for all this. At $4.50 per beer, it is kind of overpriced, but look at all the food you get. Yeah, in Spain, generally you don't order tapas. The tapa is something that comes free with your drink. Sometimes you get to choose what you want, sometimes, like here, is whatever they bring you. Oh yeah, this is one of those places, as I said, where you order your drink, your beer, and they give you way too much food. I mean, we've seen this place in so many YouTube videos that we had to stop by. And that Brava sauce, Let's walk back towards Gran Via, which is sometimes referred to as the Spanish Broadway. Lots of restaurants, hotels, theaters, and you really get the sense, the pulse, the vibe of the city. And we are now on the famous Gran Via. Oh, even here, they have Timmy's. I'm sure here in Gran Via we'll find all the global brands and even more exquisite architecture. Lavishly decorated buildings with sculptures and reliefs, a showcase of the early 20th century revival architecture. Oh, that's a good idea. Advertising on the windows. That, by the way, is the former Hotel Roma. Now houses the Wow Megastore. We continue walking down Gran Via. As we approach Plaza Callao, there's the Carrión or Capitol building, like a flat iron. Here's a pretty cool mosaic, more like a mural on the tile. We have reached Plaza Callao, and here's the metro station to prove it. Plaza Callao can be compared perhaps a little with Times Square in New York or Piccadilly Circus in London. It is that central gathering spot where several important commercial streets converge, and the buildings are covered with LED billboards. Look at the sheer amount of people, and it's still early. I think we're going to walk back towards Puerta del Sol on Preciados Street, which is pedestrian only. And here's looking back towards Plaza Callao. Looking back towards Plaza Callao, this is Preciados Street, calle de Preciados, and it goes towards Puerta del Sol, where the AirBnB is. And this is like the commercial street of excellence here in Madrid. You used to see this place during Christmas, all decorated. You know, it's a sight to behold. And lots of shops. This canopy above us, I think, is a summer thing to protect us from the torrid midday sun. Here's the prime location for the very famous El Corte Inglés department store. And they have a rooftop bar, so guess where we're going? What a view of Puerta del Sol from the top. I think if you want to eat, you have to have a reservation, but we're just gonna have some cava. Cheers. This is the life, I'm telling you. And we got Spanish olives. Cava, by the way, is the Spanish sparkling wine of excellence. And you may have noticed the amount of food you get with your drink varies greatly. The more local places, they give you a lot of food. The fancier ones may give you olives, or maybe just peanuts. But no matter what, you always get something to nibble on with your drink. Well, went by El Corte Inglés grocery store to get some stuff. And now we're gonna take a break because we're seriously jet lagged now. And perhaps a little tipsy. Yeah, I think we're going to embrace the Spanish ways and take a nap. Being so centrally located is definitely a plus. This is our street right here. I hope this works. Well, we took like a 3 hour, not even 3, but like 2 hour nap. So right now we need coffee. We want coffee. But I don't know if this is gonna work, because the coffee maker they had here, I believe it is aluminum. This is stainless steel, so this will work with the induction cooktop, and it should translate into the aluminum. But I don't know. And we are back out and about. Madrid is bustling with activity. And we're gonna pick up where we left off on the Gran Via. Preciados Street is incredibly busy right now. You can tell in Madrid everything happens later in the day. And because of the long days of late spring, daylight savings, and Spain being basically in the wrong time zone, it won't get dark here until after 10 p.m. And we're back in Gran Via. This is like one of the main thoroughfares here in main arteries of Madrid. All the theaters are here. Very cool. There are several famous theaters in this area, hence the name Spanish Broadway. Nowadays the posters are giant LED screens, but I remember the time when they were static, some of them even hand-painted, if memory serves. It is such a great street to go for an afternoon stroll, and the sensory overload for sure. And we have reached the end at Plaza de España. The street itself keeps on going, but it is called Avenida Princesa from this point forth. The two tall buildings, the Rio Hotel and Torre de Madrid. Here's a famous statue depicting Don Quixote and his sidekick Sancho Panza, their creator, Cervantes, lurking from behind. Here's from a slightly farther perspective. This, of course, Plaza de España, very iconic, with the statue of Don Quixote. That's the Royal Asturian Mines Company building, but we're walking a little farther towards the Royal Palace. Once again, looking back towards Plaza de España, and we are in awe admiring Madrid's exquisite revival architecture.
Lots of construction going on here, right next to the Royal Palace Gardens, and it is insane the amount of people out on the street. Not used to that. It seems transformers are very popular in Spain. Royal Palace. And it looks like they are redoing all these gardens here. Or some of them anyway. And as I mentioned, that's the Royal Palace right there. I don't know if we're gonna have time this time around to visit it. They don't let you film inside anyways. But it is a sight to behold. Nice condos here overlooking the Royal Palace. What can I say? Let's keep going.
Even though the palace is still an official residence for the royal family, it is nowadays only used for special occasions. And everybody's out and about. Mainly locals, but lots of tourists and a few scammers as well. Just gotta be aware of some of those. And here's looking back. The building with the dome is the Church of Saint Teresa, Santa Teresa de Jesús. Here's some more detail on the lavishly decorated palace, built in the 18th century. As we continue walking past the palace, we encounter Plaza de la Armería and the Almudena Cathedral, which is relatively new for Spain. It was built in the late 19th century, practically brand new in a country that spans back to Roman times. If I recall correctly, this large courtyard, also part of Plaza de la Armería, used to be open to the public. I guess nowadays you have to pay to access. Or maybe it's always been part of your admission ticket. I don't know. This scenic viewpoint is called Mirador de la Cornisa. From here you get great views of this large green area west of central Madrid called Casa de Campo. We're hoping to visit it tomorrow, actually. There's an observation tower in the distance called Faro de Moncloa. Perhaps we can visit tomorrow as well. We're going to start making our way back. It's been a long day. At least we got the lay of the land and the taste of what's coming over the next 2 days.
Well, hello there. Let's go up this way.
This, by the way, Calle Mayor. Were we to keep going on it for about 800 meters, we would get to Puerta del Sol and our Airbnb. Let's cross to the other side of Calle Mayor because we are going to take a different street. Wow, cars actually stop for pedestrians. What a concept.
Iglesia Catedral Castrense. We're gonna take a left here on Calle del Sacramento. Casa Pipi.
Old Madrid is so picturesque. Everywhere you look, it's worth pointing the lens at.
La Apostólica. Well, hello, sir. Would you happen to know where I can find some vermouth? That way.
This is the essence of Madrid right here. People hanging out, having a beer at a sidewalk cafe, enjoying the excellent weather. I think we're going to enjoy our time here tremendously. And this is only day one. Let's get lost in the intricate maze of narrow, curvy streets of central Madrid.
Vermú casero.
We've been reliably informed vermouth is one of the drinks to try here in Madrid. So here we are.
I've never had vermouth before.
Of course, we get some olives with our vermouth, which is quite delicious. Taberna de la Concha, cozy hole-in-the-wall kind of place, but famous for their great vermouth.
But let me tell you, vermouth is probably one of my favorite things, my new favorite thing here in Spain. And those olives, they were like, we gotta come back like every year at least once.
So many places to see, so many things to try. But we've only got 2 more days here and only 1 stomach each. Beautiful weather too. We've definitely started this trip on the right foot. I wonder what adventures await us over the next 3 weeks. It is our intention to get on a camper van and drive south to one of the most culturally interesting parts of Spain, a land which was dominated by the Muslims of North Africa for centuries, not to mention the gorgeous Mediterranean coastline. Oh, here's Casa Botín, founded in 1725.
Well, but you know, serendipitously we stumbled upon El Botín, which happens to be the oldest continuously running restaurant in the world. They actually have the Guinness World Record, and we actually have a reservation in a couple of weeks at 11 p.m. But anyway, let's see if we can find our way back to the Airbnb.
It is a bustling city, always a cacophony of sounds, unintelligible conversations superimposed over the rumble of traffic and life in the city.
What a place, everywhere you look. And here in front of us we have the famous across the street, Mercado de San Miguel Market, and we're gonna go there tomorrow.
There it is, San Miguel Market.
And just in case you didn't know, we have Tapas de China. It's under construction, but anywho.
Yeah, our timing impeccable as ever. But this is a very famous market here from the early 20th century. Wait till you see all the food you can find in there. But we have to save that for tomorrow. It is touristy, but yet authentic at the same time. I would like to sample all of these places, but unfortunately, there is only so much you can eat, especially when they give you something to nibble on everywhere you go. Now we've made it to Plaza Mayor. It is bustling with activity.
We've got live music, but just like that, we've stumbled upon Plaza Mayor, and this is perhaps the most touristy place in the whole city of Madrid, besides Puerta del Sol, where we are. Anyway, we have to get back to the Airbnb because in about half an hour we have a live stream.
So picturesque, some of the views through these arches. Once the center of old Madrid, Plaza Mayor was built during the reign of King Philip III from 1580 to 1619. We've got live music, well, semi-live. The anatomically accurate equestrian statue is none other than Philip III himself, created in 1616. You see, everything here, and in Europe in general, is so much older compared to most things we have in the Americas. At the time Jamestown was barely becoming a settlement, this was already here. Well, not the oversized stuffed animal. It is getting to that time of the day where everything acquires a special glow. Everywhere you look, it is so scenic, especially at magic hour. We continue walking back, but everywhere around us, there are distractions.
Cien Montaditos. We have those in Miami too.
Yeah, I think Cien Montaditos is becoming a global brand. They've got them here, Miami, Latin America.
El Museo del Jamón. What other country in the world would have a museum dedicated to ham? Only Spain. That's Puerto del Sol right now. On a Friday night.
Tomorrow, we'll continue exploring Madrid.
Well, good morning. It is Madrid, day 2, and we're gonna start the day by going to Mercado San Miguel, even though it is under construction, but maybe we can have some breakfast there.
I keep seeing these cows everywhere.
Ooh.
It's another beautiful morning in Madrid. Almost completely clear skies.
This is Chocolateria San Ginés, very famous place for churros and chocolate, but we're not in the mood for that today.
Yes, this morning we're more in the mood for savory. It is actually kind of late, so it is going to be more like early lunch. Here's a store selling delicious turrones, Spanish for nougat. Maybe we'll visit later, maybe even buy some to take home. Here we are. I'm kind of sad it is under renovation because it is otherwise a uniquely beautiful building. Oh, there is so much delicious food. Where to start?
It's like a wrap roll with beef. I'm never.
All kinds of fruits and hams, cured meats, sausages.
Pinchos de tortilla variados. Salsa a elegir incluida.
Let's see what else there is.
Mira, la hora del vermú.
We keep gravitating towards the seafood.
Getting a free sample here. We're gonna have a lobster croissant. That's all you do. It has a sauce with oil and
Garlic.
oil and garlic, and butter. Oh my god, it's amazing. Of course, you gotta wash it down with some cava, because that's how you do it.
Cava is Spanish sparkling wine. Now I'm sampling the anchovy montadito. Very typical, very delicious. A montadito is an open-faced sandwich, usually served as a tapa. We could spend all morning here, but we're getting stuffed already. Alright, let's try one more thing.
We got croquetas. No sé de qué.
Look at all these olives. Everything looks so good.
Bueno, we're gonna finish with the Valencian paella. Yeah, we'll compare it with the real one in Valencia in a couple of weeks.
We are so stuffed. I don't think we're gonna be able to eat anything else for the rest of the day. I mean, we have reservations for a big meal tonight, so we're going to save our appetite for that. Walking on Calle Mayor, we stumble upon Plaza de la Villa, And Madrid is full of this. The good-looking building is Casa de la Villa. The statue is of one Álvaro de Bazán, Marquis of Santa Cruz, and renowned admiral and landlord. Well, you may recognize this. We were here yesterday evening, walking in the opposite direction. In fact, there it is once again, the Almudena Cathedral. By the way, if you haven't watched the previous video of our first day in Madrid, I recommend you watch that one first, and then come back to this one. We're going to an area we've never been to before, by the Manzanares River. Here we can see the neighborhoods sprawling to the west, as we make our way down to the river. It is actually fairly quiet down here. It is called Parque de Atenas, or Athens Park. I wonder what kind of game that is. It is actually really cool to be able to get away from the touristy area and discover where people actually live and play.
We're about to cross the famous Manzanares River here in Madrid. We're definitely off the tourist track here for sure.
And looking upstream, we see that observation tower, Faro de Moncloa. We might want to visit it later.
This is the actual Manzanares River.
We've made it to the other side.
There's Almudena up there.
That would be the Royal Palace, of course. A little further down, Plaza de España. Here, the architecture is a little more utilitarian.
Well, here we are walking along this very pleasant path. Along there's the river on this side, and then on this side we have all the bunch of people, walking, biking. It's very pleasant. Let me walk quickly here before they run me over. And then on this side over here, I don't know if you can see it, the Almudena Cathedral. You see the Plaza de España over there, and we just want to walk around. From all the years that like 13 months, 15 months that I lived here in my late teens, I never saw the Manzanares River. I see it for the first time now. I mean, it's not like a huge river. I think if all the Madrileans stop peeing for one day, it'll go dry. Oh yeah, this is one of those spots where you would take a selfie with the Madrid sign, right? You even can see the Plaza de España back in the back. And it's weird because it's not like in the touristy area of Madrid at all. This is just a park, mostly local, which is really cool. We're gonna keep on walking. There's a famous bridge coming up. I don't know. We're just winging it today, literally. And this is the bridge of the king, Puente del Rey. I don't know. We'll do some research. It's probably because the royal palace is right back there, so maybe the king, that's the bridge he used to use. I don't know.
As a matter of fact, the bridge gave the monarchy exclusive access from the royal palace to Casa de Campo, Spanish for country house, used by the royal family and the nobility until 1931, when it became Madrid's largest public park. So we are now literally following in the king's footsteps, going into Casa de Campo.
Here we go. Acueducto de la Partida de Sabatini from 1778.
In other words, a very historic aqueduct.
Here we go. Now we know if we come back, I can park the autocaravana here.
Just in case you didn't catch that, autocaravana is Spanish for RV, at least in Spain. And we are renting one of those, the Class B camper van version actually, the day after tomorrow. This is Lago de la Casa de Campo, country house lake. It is, by the way, man-made, dating back to the 16th century. Here's looking back towards central Madrid.
And of course, this is all part of Casa de Campo, which would be loosely translated as country house, right? And I don't know the exact history about it. It's a huge park. I don't know how many square miles or or acres or hectares it would be, but it's a lot.
The park is actually 5 times the size of Central Park in New York City. So it is in fact huge, more than 4,200 acres.
By the way, today is legit hot. Otherwise, we might get a rowboat or even a kayak. Actually, rowboats seems to be the thing here. Like at Retiro Park that we saw yesterday.
Let's see if we can sit down and get a refreshment.
Café del Lago. This is only the second IPA of the whole trip. It's only the second day of the whole trip, and they gave us something free to nibble on while we drink. That was great. That was a great reset. Now we're going back to the old city, if you will. That was a great IPA. Now we might be going there later. I don't think that was there the last time we were here. That tower over there. El Faro de Moncloa. Alright, it should be downhill from here on. But we're going a different route.
Yeah, it is a trail of sorts.
Oh, there's supposed to be a mirador. It's a viewpoint somewhere around here. So let's see. I don't see anybody else. So.
Here we are. Similar to the views we've seen before. I mean, this area of Madrid doesn't really have too many skyscrapers, just those two, but I think the Grove is the main thing to see here. It is called Mirador de la Huerta, or Grove Viewpoint.
Well, this was a nice break from the hustle and bustle of the city. That's what, Casa de Campo, this huge, it's a huge park with hiking trails and all kinds of stuff. There's even a cable car, funicular, or cable car I think it's called. But now we're going back to the hustle and bustle. Well, that's where we're going, in that direction.
We're crossing back on the King's Bridge. Wildlife in the middle of Madrid. This whole park along the river is relatively new. The M30 Beltway road used to run through here until 2005, at which point they built a tunnel, thus creating this urban park. No wonder I had never seen the river before. There was a highway running next to it. Here's a display illustrating how the area has changed over the years.
Did I mention huge EU flag behind me?
I wondered if the EU had something to do with the construction of the park.
This is a rare sighting in Madrid, a limo. An old Lincoln Town car. And here's Puerta San Vicente.
What we see here is a 1995 replica. The original from 1775 was demolished in 1892. I'm glad they decided to put it back. There is a historic rail station, Estación del Norte. I guess nowadays it is more than just a train station.
Interesting.
We're walking up Paseo del Rey. Definitely still a little off the tourist track.
Well, apparently we have to go all the way up there. Oh, Joey.
The views are getting better.
We're almost there. Almost there.
Check it out, a rose garden. This area is called Parque del Oeste, or Park of the West. Here's the aerial tram going to Casa de Campo, which unfortunately is not operating today for some reason.
Teleférico is temporarily closed, otherwise we would have probably taken it. But we're still gonna go to that observation tower. Hopefully it is open. Eduardo Rosales. Yeah, this is, I believe it's called Pintor Rosales Street. And let me tell you, very pleasant. This is not touristy at all, but still you have a lot of bars, restaurants, and it seems like a nice neighborhood. Here they have these underground parking lots. I don't think Starship would fit through there. We've made it to Paseo de la Princesa.
Calle de la Princesa is, by the way, the continuation of Gran Via after Plaza Mayor. It goes to the Moncloa district. That would be the Arch of Moncloa, also known as Arch of Victory, or Puerta de Moncloa. And there it is, we can see the tower. I'm sure we'll be able to see commanding views of the city and Casa de Campo. This is Plaza Moncloa, home to these very large, good-looking buildings from the 1950s. This one, the headquarters to the Spanish Air and Space Force. The airplane, a Casa C-101. It's a trainer aircraft manufactured here in Spain, in operation since 1980. Here's a monolith dedicated to the aviators of the Plus Ultra. They achieved the first transatlantic flight between Spain and South America back in 1926. Here we have some stands, small street market of sorts. I think it is this way. Faro de Moncloa was built in 1992, so it wasn't built yet in 87 and 88 when I lived here. But it certainly was in 2001 and 2006. The other 2 times I've been in Madrid. One of those things you don't notice or remember on your fast-paced travels.
Well, that was an epic fail. It is closed because of high gusts of wind. Well, at least we get to see a different part of the city. Let me tell you, I really wanted to go up that thing, but there's always tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow we're gonna have the Metro card, and we're gonna go to the farther away places, and who knows? If we run out of places to go and have extra time, we might come back up.
Let me tell you, we walked a lot to get up here, and all for nothing. Here's looking back towards Plaza Moncloa. So, tell you what, let's salvage the rest of the afternoon by doing something somewhat touristy. A spot from where we might also get a commanding view of the city. We decided to walk back to Plaza de España. It's really not that far, about 1.5 kilometers, about a mile. Tomorrow will be the day in which we get a day pass for public transit and explore some areas which are not necessarily walking distance. My old stomping grounds, if you will. Really looking forward to revisiting my neighborhood, my high school, and places like that. Madrid is definitely a very walkable city, but it is also a very large metropolis. I really like the juxtaposition of the different architectural styles. We're slowly approaching once again the touristy center of Madrid. Here we are, Plaza de España. Here's Torre de Madrid, and there are 2 rooftop bars here, one very famous, one not so much. Here's the Riu.
Riu Plaza España.
Rooftop access is on the back of the building. Right here, actually. Oh, nice. There seems to be a line to get a table, but we're gonna see if we can sneak into the bar. We're having some overpriced cava, and you don't even get a proper tapa, just peanuts. Let's walk around, and when you see signs in English, you can tell this is for tourists, with tourist prices and service with an attitude. The views, however, are truly spectacular, and the real reason you come to a place like this, which by the way, at €10 to ride the elevator to the top, it doesn't seem so bad compared to similar places around the world. And here you can see Plaza de España, part of Casa de Campo, the Royal Palace, the Almudena Cathedral, and that down there is Templo de Debod, a legit Egyptian temple that was disassembled and brought here stone by stone. And that, well, that's where we're going next. I believe that's the lake where we were this morning. And here's once again looking towards the Royal Palace and the Opera House. Finally, here's looking over Paseo Princesa towards Moncloa. It doesn't look that far from up here. Here's overlooking Gran Via towards Plaza del Callao. There are very few spots from where to get that nice 360-degree view, because it is crowded and full of tables, but we're managing. Here's once again El Pirulí, Madrid's famous broadcast tower, which we saw from that other observation deck at the Cibeles Palace. Seriously, if you haven't watched the previous video, please do. Check it out, Pac-Man on the roof, and a very nice small rooftop pool. Actually, there are more than a few rooftop bars and swimming pools around here. One more look at Gran Via. It is so iconic, especially seen from up here. Let's move to the other side, get a different view. Here we have a glass-bottom walkway. Here's looking towards the more modern part of Madrid with the taller skyscrapers. The slanted buildings, that's Plaza de Castilla. We'll see it tomorrow when we get that metro card because that is pretty far. Alright, selfie time! Alright, let's get out of here. Check it out, that's the glass balcony at the top. Where we're going next, it's not technically a rooftop bar, but we've heard it's a really good alternative to the Rue. It is called Ginkgo. Again, we only get peanuts with our cava, so we decide to order from the menu. Ensaladilla rusa, which is a type of tuna salad, and this is probably the best one we've ever had. We're also enjoying great views of Plaza de España. There's the Quijote and Sancho statue. Yeah, we're much lower compared to the Rue. There's an outside terrace, but we're not allowed to go there for safety reasons. Let's walk around anyway and see what other views we can see. Yes, it would have been nice to have a drink out here. Here's a view to the other side. Yeah, this was a good time.
Ginkgo biloba.
We're going to start heading back, take a break, because tonight we have a dinner reservation. Gran Via, as crowded as ever.
We're going back to the Airbnb, maybe with a pit stop at El Corte Inglés for some supplies. And let me tell you, that ensaladilla rusa is the best I've had. I mean, it's the first one I've had in Spain, but let me tell you, that was a work of art. Really, very, very good. And of course, cava.
Madrid is really happening on this Saturday night. Everybody out and about, going to the theaters or just hanging out. I mean, would you take a look at this place? It is almost overwhelming, a sensory overload. Check it out, they even have Carl's Jr. We're now approaching Plaza del Callao. Here's looking towards the rest of Gran Via, but here we're going to take once again Preciados Street towards Puerta del Sol. Now, this is almost unfathomable. Would you take a look at Calle Preciados Street on a Saturday evening? Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Well, the amount of people out on the street is staggering. I mean, we're starting to get used to it, but still, we're not used to it. It's such a vibrant city. Everybody's out on the street. And it is quite something to see when you are not used to something like this. As I said, we're gonna get some supplies and take a break.
Fnac is an electronics store here in Europe, I believe originally from France. And let me tell you, this has to be one of the busiest shopping streets here. Here we are, El Corte Inglés. Great variety, very high quality products. Look at all these different types of olives. And wine, of course. But I am most interested in the ham.
Yep, this is the good stuff right here.
Now we have something to snack on. That's our street coming up, Calle del Correo, or Post Office Street. As I said, we're going to take a break at our impeccably located Airbnb. We even have what seems to be a great Argentine steakhouse here, but since our time is limited, we want to focus more on typical Spanish food. Anyway, see you in a couple of hours. No, this is not it. Two-handed operation.
Sube la escalera con él y el perro dice, sí hombre, y se da la vuelta y va. Y eso fue suficiente para que la gente dijese, te lo dije, hay un bebé muerto ahí.
Oh, check this place out. This evening, we're going to a very special dinner at a very historic place. It first opened as a wine shop in 1895, and eventually over the course of several generations it became the staple that it is today. One of their specialties, a very typical comfort food, a stew called cocido madrileño. I've been really looking forward to this, as it has been highly recommended. The restaurant is called Malacatín.
Should be around here. Malacatín, 1895. Mira, cocido.
Well, we came to this place called Malacatín, and they're famous for their cocidos. Cheers. It's a very famous Madrileño dish. Good Rioja, that's the good stuff. Very cool. You can tell this place has been here for many years. First, they bring the broth with noodles, and you're supposed to put the onions in it. The first thing we're gonna do is try the soup broth with the noodles, and then we start adding other stuff. That's it. We've got some cured meats, chickpeas, potatoes, cabbage. Doesn't seem to be all that much.
Yeah, I spoke to some. I thought they were saying like it's not that much food as they say, but then she brought all the other stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be we might have to take some home.
Let me tell you, we've got chorizo, blood sausage, some kind of beef. Then we've got this lamb shank and chicken. Here's my very good looking plate.
Taking shape in my plate.
We're stuffed. This area of Madrid, a little south from the center, feels a little grittier, dirtier. I would even dare to say a little sketchier. There's a lot more graffiti. Perhaps not the place to be like super late at night.
No, the cocido. Does it live up to the hype? But I don't know. I have nothing to compare it with. It is my first Madrileño cocido, so I don't know. Is it the most delicious thing I've ever had? No, not really. I could probably do better, but I don't know. This is probably the authentic, the real thing. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, yeah, it wasn't bad. But then again, I would have to have many other cocidos to be able to have an educated opinion, if you will. That being said, let's keep on. I mean, we need to walk that off right now, man. Maybe have one last vermouth before we leave Madrid. And we're back in the touristy part of town. Let's go into the pedestrian street.
Oh, here's La Casa del Abuelo, famous for its gambas al ajillo. His special shrimp sautéed in garlic and wine. It's delicious. We definitely have to go there before we leave Madrid. Here's Plaza Mayor. We've seen it before, so we're not gonna linger here for too long. Instead, we're going to buy some turrones. We got a sample here earlier, one called cremoso, which is made with almonds. I mean, it was divine.
Turrones artesanos. Well, we couldn't leave Madrid without having some turrones because that's what you do.
Yes, everything looks so good. Well, I thought it may never happen, but night is finally starting to fall. What a great conclusion to our second day in Madrid.
So this is El Museo del Jamón.
Oh, I wish we were still hungry. As I said, what a great way to conclude our second day here in Madrid. And after 2 days here, we're kind of getting used to the crowds, to the language, which, still being very similar to the Spanish we know, it is not exactly the same. Also, we are no longer jet-lagged, which is a great plus. We decided to wait until dark to come out one last time and check out the vibe of the city. It is now past 10 p.m.
Well, as you can see, Madrid is truly the city that never sleeps. It's past 10 p.m. and the street is full of people, both locals and tourists. This is all we're gonna do today. Tomorrow we're gonna do something different. We're gonna get on the subway, on the metro, and explore some of the less known parts of town. Maybe. From Puerto del Sol, Madrid. Good night. The things you have to do to make an aluminum mocha pot work with an induction stove. Well, good morning. We're gonna get in the metro station now because today we're gonna go to the farther areas of Madrid, if you will. Here at the Sol station, we're getting a one-day tourist pass, which provides unlimited metro or bus rides within the city. Anyway, this is the card. At €10, the tourist card is a great deal, especially since Madrid has such an excellent public transit system. Our first trip is very short, just a couple of stops, and some of these older stations, they are not very accessible. We emerged at Plaza Tirso de Molina and now we're... Oh, I haven't told you where we're going. It is a quiet Sunday morning in Madrid. The birds are chirping and people are barely starting to wake up. And where are we going, you might ask? Well, here we see some stands and a higher concentration of people. Well, this is called El Rastro de Madrid. And this is Madrid's big flea market. Here happens every Sunday. And it's totally a thing. I mean, I don't really need to buy anything, but we're just gonna walk around and see what they have. When I lived here back in 1987 and 88, I came a couple of times because I like to buy, 12-inch records, and they were really cheap. They have all kinds of things. Some of it kind of touristy stuff like the abanicos, which are those traditional folding hand fans. But I think most of the stuff is actually intended for locals. I think most people around are locals, looking for bargains, antiques, or unique quirky stuff. Lots of clothing actually, some of it used, and artsy stuff. Here we have some records and American-style license plates. We continue walking down the street in this barrio, a neighborhood called La Latina. This is one of the oldest markets here in Madrid. According to what I read, there has been some kind of outdoor commercial activity here since 1740. Which, by the way, I don't know how long it is, but this is several city blocks here in Madrid, probably over a kilometer in length. And right now it is empty because it is only 9:20 a.m. They just opened up at 9. It'll get a lot more crowded, but I decided to come early just because of that, so I can show you guys what it's all about. And we're going downhill. Hopefully there'll be another metro station down there. Yeah, and some of the side streets get a little bit of the action too. Let's keep going. Apparently this was originally a cattle market, and over the years it evolved into what it is today. Over 1,000 vendors selling new and used goods, antiques, very cool. Here we have some second-hand books. And more clothing. Some watches here. I like that. More abanicos. Yes, very folkloric. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Here's looking up a typical Madrid street.
Well, it's not only one street, the Rastro. There's several streets here. We have schools, all kinds of other stuff. Look at that. Yeah. When I lived here, this is what I came to buy. Of course, that was like 36 years ago or more.
It is one of those places where if you can't find it here, it probably doesn't exist. Cool, old radios.
Antiquities, I tell you. And here we have more records. And we're starting here today at the Rastro because today is the day we're gonna reminisce a little bit. And I'm gonna show you guys where I used to live, where I used to go to school, where I used to hang out. And this is one of those places that, I didn't come like every single Sunday, but I came whenever I had a couple hundred pesetas to spend on records and stuff like that, on music mostly.
Let's walk down to Puerta de Toledo so we can get on the metro once again.
Well, yeah, this behind me is Puerta de Toledo, or the gate, the Toledo gate. And Madrid has several of this, right? There's Puerta de Alcalá, which we saw on our first day. And that one is the gate, on Alcalá Street goes to Alcalá de Henares, which is the town where, little known fact, Miguel de Cervantes, the author of the Don Quixote, was born. You may have heard of him. And then this one goes to Toledo, which happens to be the place where we're going tomorrow. So all these gates are named after the towns, where the original roads leading out of Madrid. At least that's what I think. I will have to fact check myself. Now we have about an hour ride on the metro because we're going to the other end of town, to the neighborhood where I used to live. Let's get on the subway.
Here at Alonso Martinez, which is kind of like a hub, we're going to change to a different line.
We're going to Canillas. As you can see, as you get to the outskirts of the city, this is a much more modern station. This was probably built in the mid-90s. This wasn't here when I lived here.
Here we are, Canillas neighborhood, in the Hortaleza district. Originally a separate town from Madrid. When you migrate to a new country, this is where you live, where rent is affordable, far from the city center. Somewhere around here was the store where I bought my first Walkman, not a Sony, a knockoff that didn't work all that well, but is what I had.
Well, many things have changed over the years, but the supermarket is still here.
I'm sure Anytime Fitness is relatively new. We're walking down Calle Mota del Cuervo Street. My building will be coming up soon here on the left.
Yeah, this was always a furniture store. I'm pretty sure this was it. But I don't know, I may have misspoken, but it's been 37 years if you count when I arrived. And here coming up is the bus stop where I used to take the bus. Yeah, let's cross the street here, and yeah, that's bus number 73. That was the closest thing because that metro station wasn't there before.
That's where my dad used to work, in that third-floor office, nowadays an English school. This down here used to be an auto mechanic garage, and perhaps it still is. It is Sunday, so many businesses are closed. And this is it. This is where we lived during the tail end of 1987 and most of 1988. We were on the lower floor, so we didn't really have much of a view, but it was priced right. This is still a pretty nice park here.
Well, yeah, this was it. We didn't have a telephone in the house, so there was a public phone in that corner that we used to call from. And this is it. This is our Motilla del Palancar. Ours was number 16, which is that way. And of course, back in 1987 and 88, this was open all the time. Maybe it's become a little bit of a rough neighborhood over the years. I don't know. But let's go around the block. I mean, there's nothing like 37 years to blur your memories, but the neighborhood doesn't look as pretty as I remember it. But then again, anything looks pretty after living Havana. Yeah, that's where my dad used to work, and that's where I played my first computer video game, because he had a computer, and after hours, I'm like, can I play a little bit? So they would let the teenager play with the computer.
Of course, the guy my dad used to work for at the beginning was an old friend of his, and the person who sponsored us so we could get a visa to go to Spain. That's why I was allowed to go and hang out after school. And here's proof that the neighborhood hasn't changed all that much. Only one new building here. People still use clotheslines to dry their laundry. Let's take a walk around the block. Here's a very nice small supermarket in this corner, which is kind of the norm in these neighborhoods.
That's the actual name of the street. The building where I used to live takes the name from the streets that's actually behind it.
It looks like the old market has seen better days. This was like a neighborhood mall with all kinds of different shops.
Well, that used to be the market, And at the time, old-fashioned. You had a butcher, you have a baker, you had a place where you would develop film, that kind of thing. That was it, and that's the back of the building where I used to live.
And we have come full circle.
I believe this is where the aforementioned phone booth used to be. Either here or somewhere around here. Yeah, 16 Bajo B, that used to be us. I'm kind of sad that it's all locked up these days, and I'm kind of sad. I should have contacted our former neighbors. Maybe they still live here, but another time perhaps. It's good. It's good to see the neighborhood. It hasn't changed all that much, architecturally speaking. Now let's go somewhere else. We've decided to take the bus instead of the metro.
We're going to take the same bus I used to take to school every morning, number 73. Here, Mota del Cuervo Street becomes the Canillas Highway, going towards the center of Madrid. Now we're going over the M30 Beltway Road, which circles the Central District. Here we are. We're going to walk on Cartagena Street for a couple of blocks until we reach our next destination. This is definitely still the real Madrid. No other tourists in sight.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's Colegio Claret, the Catholic school where I did the second half of the equivalent to the 11th grade of high school. This is the way I used to come, and entered through that gate. It looks pretty much exactly the same. In fact, I have a picture right under that canopy. Let's walk around the block. Why a private Catholic school, you might ask? Well, there was this nun that helped all the Cuban immigrants with winter clothing, food, and most importantly, community. The Catholic education was part of the package too. Oh, this door is open. Let's take a peek inside. Of course, it being Sunday, there is no class today, but maybe there was soccer practice. The tall building is called Torres Blancas, or the White Towers. Maybe they were white at some point, when it was built in 1969. This is supposed to be the main entrance to the school right here.
That's the main entrance.
It is a very interesting looking building. Can you guess who I am? This is the beginning of Avenue of America, better known as Highway A2. It goes from here all the way to Barcelona. Here's the Puerta America Hotel. Each floor has a different design. We decided to sit down for a caña and some food. They gave us some olives for free, and then we ordered some patatas bravas, which is basically fries with a special hot sauce. Across the street from school, because why not?
How surreal to have a caña and some patatas bravas right in front of the, my high school here in Spain. I mean, it's a long story. I only did like less than a year here, but I used to come on this street just to buy some lunch, and let's see if we can find some of the places that I used to frequent at the time.
Long story short, I got disoriented and couldn't find any of the places.
I could have sworn there was somewhere on this street where I used to buy like pastries, palmeras, which is like a sweet pastry and whatnot, but I guess 30 plus years, 35, 36, I don't know how many. It's a long time. Maybe a bar nowadays, for all we know. Well, let's continue. There's so much, that I can reminisce in here.
We're going to get back on the metro, going to a district called Chamberí and the Rio Rosas neighborhood.
Pitis.
Here we are. We have emerged at Calle Ponzano Street. Nowadays, very famous for its pubs and restaurants, but for me it has a very special significance as well. I believe this may be it.
Well, there is Calle del Ponzano 16, Ponzano Street, and if memory serves, well, this is the right spot. There was this nun that would help. She was a Cuban nun here in Spain. Isabel was her name, and she used to help, new arrivals like us, like they had like used winter clothing, and they would provide food and help, for those of us who came with nothing at the time. So, and there was like an apartment on the second floor, and they would do parties and give us food and whatever, they had the closet with all the winter clothing that we didn't have, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I got to hang out on this street here many times. Pretty much every day after school, we would come here.
This is one of the famous bars here, but at this point, we're neither thirsty nor hungry, so we're gonna keep on walking.
Well, we're gonna go into another part of town now.
We're going to walk north towards the Tetuan district and the Cuatro Caminos neighborhood. Check out this wide avenue. As we cross Raimundo Fernandez Street, we are now in the Tetuan district.
Well, we are almost there, and now we have this street here with these wide sidewalks.
That's a very famous stadium, the Santiago Bernabéu, home to the Real Madrid. We'll see it up close soon. The street is called General Perón, named after the Argentine president. And somewhere around here was where we spent our first couple of weeks, here in Madrid, until we found the apartment in Canillas. I believe this is it. I don't remember the exact floor, but it was definitely one of those apartments where my dad's friend lived.
And of course, this is General Perón Street, and that's number 9. That's where a good friend of my dad's used to live there. He's no longer with us, and he's the one who claimed us, who vouched for us so we could come to Spain and get a visa and all that. And I almost got run over by a bus. And yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, anyway, for the first 2 weeks or so of our stay here in Madrid, while we got our bearings and found an apartment of our own and all that, that's where we lived, right there. Now we continue this way towards Paseo de la Castellana, or probably our last stop on this reminiscence tour, if you will.
This is definitely a much more modern part of Madrid. As you can probably imagine, football, or as we call it, soccer, is huge here, as it is in most of the world. So this stadium is very iconic. This is a brand new look for the venerable venue, which has been expanded or renovated in nearly every decade since its construction in 1947.
Well, this is the famous Santiago Bernabéu Stadium, home to the Real Madrid football club. So if you are into football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, this is one of those iconic places you must visit, right? It's the grandest soccer stadium in Madrid.
As of our filming here, in late May 2024, there's still some construction going on. We got on the metro and came 2 stations north to Plaza de Castilla, Castile Square. Madrid, of course, being at the heart of the historical Castile region. These twin leaning towers are Puerta de Europa, the Gate of Europe towers. And here we have the famous Calatrava obelisk that isn't really an obelisk. There were a bunch of problems building the obelisk. They couldn't build it as tall as they wanted, and there were financing problems. I don't want to bore you with the details.
Well, yeah, this is called Plaza de Castilla or Castile Square. It's a Calatrava column there, and these very iconic buildings, slanted like that.
Why do pigeons like statues so much, huh? The 1960 statue, by the way, is one of José Calvo Sotelo, assassinated shortly before the Spanish Civil War. This wide avenue is Paseo de la Castellana, and we're just going to linger here for a few minutes before we continue. Our original idea was to continue north, but we're kind of tired, so we're just going to head back south.
It's been a long morning and afternoon. We're a little tired, so we're gonna go back to the Airbnb, take a break, and then explore Old Madrid a little more. And just like that, almost magically, we're back at Centro, at the center of, I can't even talk anymore. It's been a long day, we're tired. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna spend the rest of the day exploring this area, and then tomorrow we're getting the camper van. By the way, this is the Opera House, This is Metro Opera, and I had never actually been here. Let's get back on the metro, and we're gonna go see the river again. Ocean Drive, who would have thought?
And here they have a statue of Queen Elizabeth II in front of the Royal Theatre. Let's get back underground.
So this is what we're doing. We're taking number 5 and we're getting off at Marqués de Vadillo.
Must be rush hour.
Okay, we are at Marqués de Vadillo metro station, and we're gonna go see a bridge. This is also the location of we had some friends who lived around here that don't live here anymore. And I don't know exactly where the location is, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna go see the bridges, and that's it.
We're about to cross the Manzanares River here at Puente de Toledo. Toledo Bridge, probably part of the road that originally linked Madrid with Toledo.
We've got some art.
The bridge was built in the early 1700s, and this is all part of the Madrid River Park, created after they buried the M30 Beltway Road and built a tunnel. And here's a plaque commemorating the bridge. It is actually a great urban park, and that's an interesting bridge over there. It is a beautiful old bridge, and I think we should cross back on the new futuristic bridge to experience the contrast in architectural styles. Here's the Manzanares River once again, trickling downstream. The new bridge is called Arangazuela, and it opened in 2011. It has a very unique design.
Very cool modern structure here, and Madrileans are definitely embracing summer, and everybody out and about, sun tanning, and the kids, playing in the water. It's very cool to see the vibrant city.
We were thinking of having a caña here, but decided to continue. We want to go to this street called Cava Baja, famous for its tapas bars. Yeah, let's go to Cava Baja.
We came to this street called Cava Baja, which has a bunch of tapas bars and a bunch of places, but we have this dilemma. Every place is either dead or completely full. So I'll let you know if we find something to eat. What's up with all these teddy bears up there? That's different. But we stopped at this random place here called La Chata, and we ordered a tinto de verano, which is basically red wine with some kind of sparkling water. It's very refreshing, actually.
Well, there was not a whole lot going on there, so we decided to give this place, Cava Baja 17, a chance. They give us something to nibble on while we wait.
And once again, drinking vermouth. Very delicious.
We've got some meatballs and gambas al ajillo, garlic sautéed shrimp. Yum.
Hey, that's our tip.
In Spain, when the credit card machine has a prompt to add the tip, it is not a local place. And that's fine.
Well, after hours of YouTube videos watched and many places pinned in our map and another bunch of hours of research, in the end, the place that is not empty, not packed, and catches you where you're hungry along the way to your destination, that's the one that you're gonna probably do. And I mean, this was super touristy, I'm not gonna lie. But the food was decent, the service was great, and we had a great time. So that's all that really matters. And yeah, now we're gonna see if we can watch the sunset at one of the most famous places here in Madrid, at El Templo de Debod, which is an Egyptian temple that was transported here brick by brick or stone by stone, and it is here now. It's totally a thing.
Hey, the church is open. Let's go inside. Actually, we'll be quiet. There's mass going on. We're back by the Almudena Cathedral, and sunset will be happening soon. We must hurry. Making a quick detour to see all these statues at Plaza de Oriente, by the back of the Royal Theatre. Beautiful fountain here in front of the Santa Teresa de Jesus temple. Casa Gallardo is another beautiful building here. Here we are. We've made it to the Debod Egyptian temple. As I mentioned yesterday, this Nubian temple dating back to the 2nd century BC was brought here in the early 1970s in order to save it, because it was going to end up underwater after the construction of the Aswan Dam. Okay, let's go enjoy this sunset celebration. I mean, there are a lot of people gathered here. There it is. Sunset is upon us. Well, that looked like a great celebration as the lights come on and the night slowly falls here in Madrid.
I think this would be a fitting end to our time here in Madrid at the Debod Temple at sunset here. among all the other tourists and locals trying to take the same picture. Tomorrow, we're picking up the camper van and going somewhere else.
But we'll be back to Madrid in less than 3 weeks. So we spent the better part of the last 3 weeks gallivanting Spain with a camper van we named Clunker. But that's another whole movie, a very long movie. Now we're going back to Madrid. Greetings from La Mancha. I can just imagine Don Quixote and Rocinante galloping along these prairies, Sancho a little farther behind. Anyway, we are now entering the Madrid Autonomous Community. It's been an epic saga, a roller coaster ride of a trip. Today we're coming full circle, returning to the Spanish capital. Although, we don't have to return the camper van until tomorrow, so let's do one more thing. We are now on the M40, the outer of the 2 concentric rings that circle Madrid. The other one being the M30. There are actually 2 other rings, but they don't really go all the way around. These beltways are a great way to avoid the center, and we wouldn't be allowed anywhere inside the M30 ring with this vehicle anyway. It is a low emissions zone since 2018, and only electric, hybrid, and authorized vehicles like taxis, residents, or emergency vehicles are allowed. Our first destination is going to be El Escorial, located 45 kilometers to the northwest of Madrid, on the foothills of Sierra de Guadarrama. A palace built by King Philip II, completed in 1584. It's also a monastery and burial site for many kings and royal family members. I've been here before and it never gets old. It is considered the largest Renaissance building in the world. El Escorial is also the name of the nearby town, and that's where we're going to park. I am not sure whether there is going to be oversized parking closer to the palace, and I read that the train station was a good place to park a camper van, so here we are.
Well, we parked here at the train station, which reminds me, when I used to live here in 1987-88, the 2 or 3 times we came here, we came on the train. I think it looks exactly the same. Actually, we could have taken a taxi, but I think we're gonna walk it. It should be a pretty walk.
It is going to be about 2 kilometers, maybe a little less, with a little bit of an uphill climb. It should be a pleasant walk on this path going towards the Prince's house, which is a guided tour and we're not gonna visit. This is it, La Casita del Príncipe, the prince's little house. Yeah, compared to where we're going, this would be considered little.
Now we have to go up that way.
What a beautiful path going up to El Escorial. This is called Paseo del Príncipe, the Prince's Way. Here we get a glimpse at the lavish palace and monastery, basilica. It is a whole complex. Here's looking back. That's the way we came. We're approaching the upper part of town called San Lorenzo del Escorial. That sounds like a carillon. Cool, they have a carillon. I'm glad we got to hear it. Let's take a closer peek at this magnificent building. These are the gardens, which we'll visit later as part of this self-guided tour. And here's a view looking southeast, kind of towards Madrid.
Maybe we could have parked up here, but I don't know.
Here we are. In my excitement, I forgot to film how we actually entered the building. We had timed entrance tickets, but they let us in early. There don't seem to be that many people yet. Here we are. Our first stop is the courtyard of the kings. Here's looking back towards the basilica. But first, we're going to see the library. The library is on the second floor, so you have to go up this flight of stairs and you need to show your ticket once again to access. Would you take a look at this room? Here we have an armillary sphere from 1582, representing the Earth as the center of the universe. They have some very rare books and globes. Here's a painting of King Charles V and Philip II, who actually commissioned the construction of this place. Here's an Old Testament from the 15th century, and so many other tomes, some of them handwritten and painted. I was a little disappointed to find out that all these books are facsimiles. I'm sure they have the originals stored somewhere in a super environmentally controlled dark and dry room somewhere around here. Incredible opulence of this bygone era, and how well preserved everything is. And here's Philip III, Philip II's son. Here we exit, but let's take one final look at this magnificent room. We're back at the courtyard of the kings, and now the next stop is the basilica. I wonder what these are. Tangerines, perhaps? Oh wow! This, by the way, at the very center of El Escorial, the Basilica of San Lorenzo el Real, a late Gothic design. It is said that Philip II wanted to commission Michelangelo or Titian to decorate the reredas behind the altar, but by this time they were both too old and frail, so he had to settle for lesser-known artists. I mean, it is still very impressive. Everywhere you look, there's a painting or other work of art. It is fairly dark in here, but luckily we have a low light mode on this camera. There seems to be a school field trip visiting today. To think all this has been here for over 400 years. Here's a very famous marble statue of Christ, sculpted in 1562 by Florentine sculptor Cellini. It was a diplomatic gift from Cosimo de' Medici. It is considered very unusual because it depicts Jesus completely nude. So they put a piece of cloth for modesty. This part would have been the former lobby of the monastery. I guess we're supposed to continue the other way, but let me take a peek into this hallway. Very nice. Let's continue this way. This is the main staircase of the monastery. The painting on the ceiling, the glory of the Spanish monarchy, painted by one Luca Giordano in 1692. These are some choir stalls from the 16th century. They look very uncomfortable, if you ask me. We continue walking around. Yeah, there's a patio called the Courtyard of the Evangelists, which I believe is behind this wall on the left. And I believe this is the hallway, the gallery we saw earlier. Now, through this hallway here, we access the chapter rooms. This is where the monks would meet. There are two of these here at El Escorial, symmetrically placed on both sides of this room here, where we entered. Let's see the other one. Oh, check it out. There's a depiction of the Last Supper. Let's look out this window. This piece of furniture apparently used to be the archive. Next, we're going to enter the Pantheon of the Princes, and after that, the Royal Pantheon. It is very easy to get disoriented in here, so let's look out this window again, and yep, we're still on the same side, facing south. And here they are. We've caught up with the field trip. Oh well, this area is actually much newer, completed in 1888. There are 9 chapels with the remains of princes, princesses, their consorts, and I apologize for the lower video quality here. It is actually kind of dark. I may have the wrong setting on the camera, but I still want to show it to you. Here's the tomb of Prince John of Austria, perhaps the most elaborate of them all. It is getting a little louder here. I mean, there's a lot more people, plus the field trip. I think we arrived at the perfect time today, but now it is getting crowded. Next, the Royal Pantheon. But photography is not allowed, so I'll catch up with you on the other side. Next, the Habsburgs Palace. This would be, I believe it is called the meridian sundial. The sun would hit it exactly at noon, and that's how they would set the clocks. Is that a pelican I see?
Fly, pelican.
Oh wow, take a look at this room. This is called the Hall of Battles, originally called the King's Gallery, but it's got this fresco painting depicting some of the most important Spanish military victories at the time, including the Moors and the French, so the Hall of Battles was a better choice. Now this is the Palace of the Bourbons. The Spanish crown had so much wealth at this point in history. All that gold coming from the new American colonies at the height of the Renaissance. I know this has been a long beginning to our season finale, but there is so much to see here. I mean, we had to do it. And that's it. I'm sure there's more to see, but we're hungry and tired.
Well, yeah, that was pretty massive. I'm kind of bummed out I couldn't show you the part with the kings, you know. They have the tombs of all the kings and queens, probably from the 1500s on. Very cool. And, well, let's explore the town, explore the gardens, you know, see a little bit more of what El Escorial has to offer.
The self-guided tour enters and exits through the side of the building, this being the front. And I believe certain areas like the courtyard of the kings and the gardens are actually free to see.
Gonna see if we can find access to the gardens that we saw, and then we're gonna find something to eat. This is where they used to drink the water. I don't think that they work anymore. And this is where the king had his swimming pool. Check it out.
What is that I see in the distance? That's Madrid! We can see it all the way from here. I can't wait to return the camper van tomorrow and explore a little more.
Well, the last time I was here back in 1988, I didn't realize, but if you zoom in, I mean, like I did, you can see the skyscrapers of Madrid way out there in the distance. Back in 1988, Madrid didn't have all those skyscrapers, not the real tall ones, so that's what we didn't know. This is very cool. We're gonna explore the gardens now, and then we're gonna find something to eat because we're in Spain, and Spain is famous for its food, and we are famous for being hungry. You know what I haven't been able to find much of? IPAs, but you know, this place is more famous for wine than beer, so let's do it.
I think this is the way to the gardens. Oh yes it is! It was probably not like a real swimming pool, huh? I wonder what's down there. I don't think they want us to find out.
I bet you that's where the dungeon is. A beautiful day here at El Escorial.
Yeah, apparently there was plenty of parking up here, but had we parked here, we would have missed the walk along the Princess Way. There are several restaurants up here, so let's see what we can find. This Charolés has good reviews, but I think we're going to eat at the next one, La Taberna del Corcho. We begin with the customary caña and a salad.
Oh, cheers.
We got the tuna empanadas. Tuna in Spain is so great. And the suckling lamb chops. And coffee, of course.
That was pretty good. It was probably the touristy place, but sometimes you do the touristy place and it's all right. Let's head back to the parking to where we parked, which, come to think of it, I probably could have found parking here in town, but I didn't know there was as much parking up here, so we just have to walk now the 1.5 kilometers or so. Oh, look at that, art. Casa de Cultura, the House of Culture. It's about almost 2 kilometers to the parking lot. Luckily, it is all downhill.
We're going to Madrid! We searched on Google for an RV park and área de autocaravanas, and this came up, but no, it seems to be a dealer. Let's keep looking. What a great view of Madrid. I had never seen the skyline like that. This also showed up as a possible parking area, but no, I don't think so. There's also this large parking lot. But tell you what, there's an actual campground near the airport for €39. I think we're gonna try that one. Here we are. It is called Camping Osuna. Checking in was a slow process. We managed to empty the toilet. We might do it again tomorrow. And they told us to park it at any of the electric sites. But first, they're really tight. And we don't have a long power cable, so we have to find one where the electricity is close by. Anyway, I think this one will do, but we have to enter from the other side. Yep, this will have to do.
Cheers. Yeah, campground in Madrid has a bar and they have decent Verdejo white wine. Ili likes it too.
There's an Argentine restaurant next door, so we're getting some empanadas.
Look at that.
Great risotto too.
Pacharán. You all know this was my dad's favorite, so gotta do it. This is called a chupito. You do it, it's like an after dinner. And it's set. We have some towables, mostly drivables, and there's clunker coming up right there, fully off level. This is the part that I hate the most. And we have gotten rid of the clunker. Now, back to Madrid. And we're back in Madrid. Let me give you a quick tour of our interior room here at Hotel Europa. And yeah, nothing to see out these windows because we have an interior room, but that could be a good thing because it's going to be more quiet. I mean, we're right smack in the middle of Puerta del Sol, which, as you know, it's the middle of Madrid and it gets rowdy until late at night. Anyway, quick tour. I was gonna do this as we arrived, but we had a much needed shower first. We have two beds together here. This is where I put my computer. This is I just recorded the podcast. This is where we're gonna do the live stream tonight. We have plenty of USBs and surprise, American compatible power outlets. Very cool. TV that we're probably not gonna use. Again, USBs, American plugs. This is me. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I cleaned up. Oh, I haven't shaved yet, but I did everything else. Here we have a little kitchenette area, coffee maker. I think it's just like a, what do you call those things? A kettle. A kettle. A refrigerator. We have a safe. This is where we put our bags. And we have a huge bathroom coming from a camper van. This is luxury, guys, and a fairly nice shower here. So yeah, this is our room. We're staying at Hotel Europa, right smack in the middle of Puerta del Sol. It's 3 stars. We paid about $200 per night, and this is it. Now let's go have some lunch. And here we are, Cafe Europa.
We got some free paella with our beers, and bread, of course. We got scrambled eggs. And salmon. Salmon was actually good.
Cafecito. And we're back at the Puerta del Sol. And yeah, let's walk around a little bit. We took a nap. And now we're going to walk around. And here we are at the opera in Madrid. Let's keep going.
Let me tell you, it might be a good idea to see a show here at the Royal Theatre someday. They're doing Madame Butterfly right now. This is called Plaza de Oriente, with all these statues here. We've been here before, and after so many days road tripping in the camper van, we're kind of discombobulated, wandering aimlessly, it would seem.
Leovigildo de las Palomas.
And this is the thing, we're going to try some new places, but at this point, at least today, we're more in the mood to repeat some of our favorites from 3 weeks ago and just get lost in the city. Admire quirkily painted buildings like this one, just because it is here. Have a random caña at a random bar.
We continue roaming the streets of Madrid.
At this point, we realize time's running out, and pretty soon we're going to be back to the other side of the looking glass. We're going back home. And don't get me wrong, we're really looking forward to getting back home. It's been a long roller coaster ride of a trip, but we're certainly going to miss some of this too. We're going to stop by a monastery where the nuns bake cookies, and they are the type of nun that you never get to see them, but they have a system.
Well, this is a famous place. They have some nuns who live inside this monastery, and they bake cookies. and they're you know they don't come out. They're not supposed to come out. They have like a revolving table, and you pay them, and they hopefully they you know sell you the cookies. But it said there no hay dulces, which means there's no desserts or no sweets. So we're gonna come back tomorrow. Let's go to Plaza Mayor because that's like central location.
Yes, I want to do one last Pelican Head update from there. And by the way, those are up-to-date videos for those of you who support the channel through Patreon or YouTube membership, what I call Chief Pelican Heads. I mean, it is the least I can do, tell you where we are, since my videos are sometimes months behind. And where we are right now is Plaza Mayor. By the way, if you are a Chief Pelican Head, thank you once again. I already spoke about Plaza Mayor in the first video 3 weeks ago when we were here, so I encourage you to watch this whole series from the beginning. The first 3 videos in particular if you're interested in Madrid. Well, this time around we're going to see some new places, mostly tomorrow. This is really a reprise, the epilogue of a great adventure. And here we have King Kong. I don't get all these oversized characters on the street. I would honestly prefer to see Madrid as the grand city that it is. It doesn't really need the extra decorations, but I'm just a tourist, and I know there's someone in there trying to make a living, earning next to nothing, drowning in his or her own sweat. So as long as Madrileños don't mind. Anyway, isn't this like the most beautiful square? And I know, I might be biased.
And the street has all this, is lined up with all these restaurants and cafes and street performers, and everybody tells you not to eat at these places, that they are too expensive, too touristy, and perhaps not so great. But we've done it before, and we just did it today. Actually, we ate at the terrace at the hotel there, and it was a little on the pricey side, but I mean the salmon was good. Anyway, we're gonna walk around a little more, and yeah, because tonight we have a live stream. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in Madrid. We should spend more time here.
There's a restaurant called La Casa del Abuelo, Grandpa's house, that we want to try. There's also Posada de la Villa. We've seen it on YouTube. But there's only so much you can eat or drink, right? We're going to stop at one of our favorite spots, Taberna La Concha, for some vermouth. It is perhaps an acquired taste, but so delicious.
Check it out. First time I see IPA advertised in Spain. Secretos de Lola. What's up with all the teddy bears? This, by the way, is a street called Cava Baja, and there's a bunch of bars and restaurants. It's very famous. That's why we just had the vermouth. Mojitos cubanos más refrescantes.
Leaving the Cava Baja behind, let's go somewhere else. There's such great ambience everywhere, and it is exactly what you expect Madrid to be. A vibrant city with tapas bars everywhere, and that's the way it is. Full of life. I don't know if I could get used to living permanently at a place like this, but I would certainly visit quite often. That's where we're going next, the Royal Basilica of Saint Francis the Great. It is supposed to have many famous paintings inside, some of them by Goya. This is one of those landmarks we missed the last time we were here.
Oh, no photography. We have very impressive building. They seem to be having some kind of event there. You know, a bunch of people, you know, dressed up, suit and tie and gowns. Of course, now we got an electric bus here blocking our view, but unfortunately I couldn't show you inside because there's a big sign said photography of any kind is prohibited in this building. So you're gonna have to take my word for it. It is majestic inside. We're gonna start heading back to Puerta del Sol. Yeah, I wouldn't dare to drive in central Madrid here. It must be so complicated, you know. And a lot of these streets, like Calle Mayor, where we are right now, they have like restrictions. You have to be authorized to drive on it. And to drive in the central Madrid, you have to have a special sticker on your windshield that your car is, you know, low emissions or something like that. I mean, there are exceptions, but yeah, not for the faint of heart. Well, I don't know who this guy is, but people seem to like to touch his butt. It's one of those things.
And that's it. Tomorrow will be an all-day affair.
Well, good morning. It's our last morning in Madrid. They changed that billboard since the last time we were here. Well, we're gonna explore a little bit our last day in Spain.
Let's hit some of the breakfast spots we haven't done yet. And what's the deal with pigeons and statues? Anyway, even though I'm more of a savory kind of guy, when you are one block away from La Mallorquina, you gotta get something.
It's actually very delicious, very sweet. I like it. 9:30 in the morning. Mr. Ginés, I guess.
This, by the way, very famous chocolate place since 1894.
Oh yeah, that was a very famous place for chocolate and churros and porras. But we already had those before at a different place, so we're looking for a place that does it with soletillos, I think it's called, which is like ladyfingers.
This is it, El Riojano.
Famous chocolate from El Riojano. These are called soletillas, and you dip them in the chocolate and you eat them. And then with the extra chocolate, you drink it. So thick. It's like almost like melted milk chocolate. That's what it tastes like. I'll save some for Eli.
It wasn't bad, but I think I like it with churros better.
Yeah, you can tell this place has been here for a while. Well, they wouldn't let me finish my pepito in there, you know. It makes sense, it's a competing business. But I'm gonna do it now. And it's kind of messy now because... But anyway, this cream is delicious. It's like a custard. And of course we are in front of the Museum of Ham. Very appropriate. It's delicious. Well, that was as delicious as it looked. A little messy though, you know, but it is what it is. Let's go get something salty now.
We're visiting one of our favorite places from the last time we were here, Mercado de San Miguel. It is 10 a.m. and they just opened up, so perfect timing. This was one of our favorite stalls, but I don't think they are quite open yet, so let's keep on walking around.
Is it too early for cava? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? It's 10 a.m. in Madrid. All kinds of aceitunas.
I'm going to start with the lobster croissant.
You know, I may not be able to eat the whole thing, but I got the fried seafood mix. You know, you have boquerones, calamari, squid, and shrimp in there. Let's see how it tastes like. 18 euro. Seems a little steep, but seafood usually is. I don't know, I feel like it is alive. I like it. Yeah, probably totally worth the price because it's a lot of food. And the shrimp is actually delicious. Oh my god. These calamari rings, I can see why people love this stuff. It's it's not chewy at all. It's like so flavorful.
Now that we're stuffed, let's walk off our brunch.
What we're gonna do next, we're just gonna walk around Madrid, explore its different neighborhoods, and not get lost, because we do have GPS, but you know what I mean. Random fountain here on a solitary street.
And we're back at Plaza Isabela II, by the Royal Theatre. We must have made a wrong turn somewhere because I didn't intend to come back here. I still want to see Madame Butterfly someday. This ironwork seems so old. And check it out! The Tribunal of the Inquisition used to be here. I mean, every turn you make, there's a slice of history.
Nice apartments on top of El Buey, which means the ox. They probably have good beef. Let's continue.
Here we have the Senate. We keep stumbling upon all kinds of things. This is called Calle del Reloj, or Clock Street. And we ended up at Plaza de España.
Well, we're looking for one of the neighborhoods here. It's called Chamberí, I think, and I think we're lost. But very cool to see all the different architecture in Madrid, for sure.
This is called San Bernardo Square, and we are now in the non-touristy Madrid, the real deal. I've always wanted to do this, and this extra day is perfect for that. We stopped at a random bar for some wine and the free tapa.
Well, we just had some white wine there at San Bernardo Square, and I love the fact that they put, a little bit of something for you to nibble on. It's still so much part of the Spanish culture, and we had like the best salchichon, and that cheese was so sharp, so awesome. Anyway, we're gonna continue walking on this street towards Plaza de Colón.
Seriously, that was probably the best manchego cheese we've ever had, and we weren't even hungry. We're approaching Alonso Martinez Square, and here we have a statue of the man himself. He was a politician in the late 1800s. Madrid has the coolest recycle bins, although I've never seen one with so many categories. Well, this was Alonso Martinez. Colón should be coming next.
And here we are. Oh, they found us. The Plaza de Colón.
Here's a statue of Christopher Columbus, Cristóbal Colón in Spanish. And that one looks kind of familiar too. Here we've got some street art. It is called Woman with Mirror by Colombian sculptor Fernando Botero. It is definitely his style, these proportionately exaggerated rounded figures. That across the street is the National Library, founded in 1712. This is a very important intersection here in Madrid. Now crossing this super wide avenue called Paseo de la Castellana. I would translate it as the Castilian Way. We're kind of walking all the way around Plaza de Colón, Columbus Square, because I want to see that odd-looking head. Here's another look at that Christopher Columbus statue from a different angle. Here's our elongated head, which we have a similar one in Miami, so I have a pretty good idea who the sculptor may be. I knew it! It had to be a Jaume Plensa work. It's called Julia. Here's old Christopher once again, a little more of a frontal view.
Isn't this nice, this avenue? This is Paseo de la Castellana, which is one of the widest avenues here in Madrid, and I just came to a realization, like a big apple fell off my head kind of realization. As you know, that was Plaza de Colón, Colón Square, Cristobal Colón, that's the Spanish name for Christopher Columbus. And I just came to the realization that probably the word colonize, and colony for that matter, colonization, probably comes from Colón. Boom! Really? Or maybe I'm dehydrated. What do you guys think? We need to find some water and some coffee. Yeah, I had some coffee, cortado, at this place called Rebuchon. Very nice.
La Castellana is really a magnificent avenue here in Madrid. The main north-south thoroughfare. And that's a pretty cool looking building. We're gonna cross here going towards Serrano Street, which runs parallel to La Castellana. And here we have some street art, like an open-air museum, if you will. We're going to go up those stairs, but first, let's look at some of this art here.
Let's check out this bridge over La Castellana.
I really like the architecture in this more modern part of the city. Looking south on the Castellana, we can see the statue of Columbus and behind it, the Cibeles Palace, which, if you recall, we visited at the jet-lagged beginning of our time here. That would have been us at the observation deck. This is Serrano Street. The time I spent in Madrid in the late 1980s was brief but very impactful. I remember many things quite vividly, like a bus ride down Calle Serrano. I remember it being a one-way street and I always wanted to walk it for some reason. Serrano and Velázquez, both one-way streets that parallel La Castellana in this area. And by the way, this seems like a very nice neighborhood, like to live as a Madrileño. Here's the famous Mercado de la Paz. It is a bit chaotic. And there's another famous restaurant here called Casa Dani, famous for their Spanish omelette. It is a very typical type of omelette, quite thick, stuffed with potatoes. Here we have a fine example.
Yeah, we really wanted to have the Spanish omelette at Casa Dani, but yeah, there's a long line. So we're gonna keep on going.
Let me tell you, if we ever return to Madrid, I might want to stay in this neighborhood.
Let's go that way.
We've been walking back south towards Retiro Park. And yes, we were there too 3 weeks ago, but there is something in particular I want to see.
Everywhere you look, check out the architecture. Bizcochos caseros, pastas caseras. And we've made it to El Retiro.
There's another familiar sight, the Gate of Alcalá. And that would be Retiro Park up ahead.
Here we are at the Retiro.
I think we have to go to the left.
have no idea. Has a pen in his hand, so he's probably a writer.
I think we're getting close to where we want to be. And here we have the Church of Saint Manuel and Saint Benedict. Here we go, a monument dedicated to Cuba, the island where I was born. Cuba, along with Puerto Rico and the Philippines, were the last three colonies to gain independence from the Spanish crown. It happened in 1898. There's Isabela and Columbus and the bow and stern of a caravel, the type of boat Columbus sailed. A turtle and an iguana representing the fauna of the country. The woman at the top representing the Republic of Cuba itself. Oh, we even have dolphins. The monument itself was conceived in 1929 but not completed until 1952. They had some political problems. Not coincidentally, perhaps, very close to the Cuban monument we encounter an equestrian statue of General Arsenio Martinez Campos. He has a long resume, but besides taking part in wars in Africa, he also did in Mexico, and during both of the Cuban Wars of Independence. Yes, there were two. He was Captain General, which really means governor, during the late 1870s, and even went back to the island in the 1890s, only to lose the Spanish-American War. Who do we have here? He looks kind of familiar. Well, we are on the other side of the pond, by the Alfonso XII monument.
Yeah, it is great to see all Madrileans enjoying the nice weather. And now, we continue.
That's an interesting looking fountain. It is called Fuente de Campanillas, and it is very old.
Yeah, Retiro is one of those places that feels regal, you know? It used to be the king's private garden, and at some point, they made it public. And I can see why on a day like today, perfect weather, all the Madrileans are out here, tanning and rowing and walking and just having a good time, drinking cañas. Oh, we're getting tired. We might get something to eat. It's our last day in Madrid, so we want to take it all in, enjoy as much as possible. Yeah, I had a feeling we had been here before, and we were, exactly 3 weeks ago. Busy intersection.
That would be the Neptune Fountain. Now crossing Paseo del Prado, which eventually becomes Recoletos, and Castellana further north. Same wide avenue with changes names depending on the neighborhood.
much construction. There's some kind of race happening tomorrow here in Madrid.
Here we have Congress.
Congreso de los Diputados.
Oh, yum.
We have not been through here before. Let's go this way.
Oh, I know where we're going to eat. We've been meaning to come to this place since we first arrived in Spain almost 4 weeks ago.
The traffic completely collapsed here in Madrid. Completely collapsed.
Let's eat at Casa del Abuelo.
Croquetas de camarón rojo.
Gambas al ajillo, garlic sauté shrimp,
Smells so good.
and café, of course.
Well, La Casa del Abuelo apparently has been here since 1906. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. Their specialty is the garlic shrimp, gambas al ajillo. And yeah, it was an outstanding product. Now let's get back to the hotel, get some rest, and maybe buy some souvenirs.
Yes, after that perfect meal, I think we're ready to get back to Florida and start planning the next adventure.
Puerta del Sol. Thousands of people.
Actually, we've been here before. I think this is where the taxi left us when we first arrived here. I think it is fitting that our great 2024 adventure in Spain would end here, at Puerta del Sol, kilometer 0 of the Spanish radial highway system, the spot where Spaniards welcomed the new year by eating 12 grapes as the bell of the clock tower tolls 12 times. The site of a statue of a bear eating from the madroño tree, the symbol of Madrid. We're going to get back to our hotel, pack our bags. Tomorrow we have an early start.
That's why your safety is so important to us. So let's go on something.
I hope you enjoyed our 5 non-consecutive days in Madrid. Look out for another video about our camper van road trip. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. riding in my